Hi little chef, welcome to day 39 of working as a chef on a yacht. Eats breakfast pretty early. Most of the crew likes protein shakes, but the first mate likes scrambled eggs. So that's the first thing I do in the morning around 7 a.m. He's usually already working, so I'll have to call him on the radio.
Brian, your eggs are ready.
Shortly after the crew wakes up, one of the owners wakes up and he likes to have an early breakfast. I've been working for the same family for 3 years now, and at this point I can almost read their minds. Knowing the expectations of the family makes it a lot easier to do my job. I'm serving the owner essentially what everyone else is getting for breakfast, but I'm plating his up and I'll serve the buffet once everyone else wakes up. While I was prepping breakfast, I looked out the window in the galley and I saw a plane drive past. These things are really cool. They're called seaplanes. It's honestly pretty crazy to see a plane on top of the ocean, weaving in and out of yachts. I've heard when seaplanes are taking off, it has to shift left to right to break the water tension. Oh! I'm already not a huge fan of flying, but these seaplanes would freak me out. Thurston seemed to be quite interested in it. What a fun way to start the day, but I have to get back into the galley to prep breakfast for the rest of the guests. I've been trying to make a fruit tray with all the fruit I have on board every single morning for breakfast. This morning, I have a whole pineapple that I want to use as a vessel. So on this fruit platter, I have dragon fruit, kiwi, strawberries, starfruit, and pineapple. I couldn't figure out how exactly I wanted it to look, so there was a lot of rearranging going on. But I think it turned out beautiful. In addition to the fruit tray, I'm making a bagel and lox platter. I'll core and slice up some tomatoes, lemon wedges, and red onion. I'm not a huge breakfast fan just because I have an egg sensitivity, but if I had to pick a breakfast to eat for the rest of my life, this would be it: bagels and lox. And when I go on cruise ships, I order this every morning. To start off the platter, I'll put down a smear of cream cheese, a bed of arugula, then my tomatoes, lemon wedges, thinly sliced red onions, salmon, capers, and last but not least, dill honey mustard. Breakfast is served. After I cleaned up the galley from breakfast, I made myself a plate, and right back into the galley again to make another mess. The guests requested hamburgers for lunch. For some sides, I'm doing cornbread, pasta salad, and pea salad. I've been trying to go through the dry goods I have in the pantry. I found these canned potatoes, and I was going to try to make some Parmesan truffle fries with them. So I got a sheet of tin foil, drizzled on some olive oil, and sprinkled on parsley and Parmesan and truffle salt, and laid my potatoes down flat. I baked these off at 425 degrees, and they were not good. Like, at all. I know I said I wasn't going to use canned potatoes again, and I should have stuck with my gut, but I did see a few comments saying to try it another way. This was the other way, and I had to throw them out. The texture was just so off. For the hamburgers, I cut up some tomatoes, onions, and lettuce. Also cut up some ripe plantains that I'm gonna fry off. The guests are at the beach right now on the island, so I'm just waiting for a radio call to hear when they're coming back. Once I get that radio call, I know that I need to start cooking. Unfortunately, the grill upstairs broke and we can't fix it without a certain part that they can't ship to the Bahamas. So I'm just searing my burgers off on the stove. I've got all of my cold appetizers and toppings for the burger set out on platters. Now I just have to fry off my plantains, plate up the hot hamburgers, and lunch is served. I went ahead and got some creamy prep done. I am doing a sugar-free white chocolate protein ice cream. I've been using these Fairlife protein shakes as the base for the ice cream, and they turn out great. The texture is amazing. I had some onions and tomatoes left over from breakfast, so I'm going to try to repurpose these for cocktail hour. I threw them into a bowl with some corn, black beans, and pinto beans to make a little bean salsa. Since we're having chips and salsa for an appetizer, I decided to make some frozen margaritas. The guests were all swimming off the back deck of the yacht, so I went out to the beach club and served up the appetizers and cocktails. Now on to dinner prep. I'm cutting up some zucchini and yellow squash, also known as summer squash, up into little wedges. I'll drizzle these with olive oil and some Italian seasonings, and I'll roast them. For another side dish, which is probably one of the guests' favorite side dishes, I'm making pureed parsnips. Parsnips have a nice peppery taste to them, and it's a great substitution for mashed potatoes. You make it the same way as regular mashed potatoes. You boil off the parsnips, throw in some butter, cream, salt, and pepper, and mash them up. I made this the first year that I started working for the family, and they fell in love with them. Another side dish that I'm making is mushroom risotto. I'll start off by toasting my arborio rice in olive oil and butter until it's golden brown. While the rice is toasting, I'll go ahead and rehydrate my dehydrated mushrooms. You can use water, but I wanted some extra flavor, so I'm using some white wine. Once your rice is toasted, add about a cup of white wine just until it covers the rice. As soon as the rice absorbs the wine, you'll add hot stock just until it covers the rice again, and you'll repeat this process. Let the rice absorb the liquid, add more liquid, and continuously stir. Stirring is going to help develop the starch, and that's what we want. Once the rice is cooked and nice and creamy, you can add in your cheeses. I'm adding goat cheese and Parmesan. And I found some Bourguignon cheese in the fridge, so I threw that whole block in there as well. You don't want your risotto to have the consistency of paste. You want it to be nice and creamy, and as it cools, it's going to get thicker, so just keep that in mind. I seared off my scallops in some butter and plated up dinner. We've got the mushroom risotto, parsnip puree, seared scallops, roasted squash, and a nice big salad. And for dessert, I made some cheesecake bites. If you're enjoying this channel, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye, little chef!